Hey y'all, it's Holly. So watched Thunderball. So I haven't finished the book yet, but I just wanted to go ahead and watch the movie because I've done that with a few others. Of course, I've done Casino Royale, Live and Let Die, some of those. But anyway, yeah, I didn't really like the movie. So it's almost the opposite of Diamonds, where Diamonds I felt was a little too silly. It didn't fit with Connery. This one's too dull, in that it's very low key for the stakes, and poorly paced. So I feel like the low keyness of him just going to an island and only investigating just one person, just worrying about the yacht and like just a couple little set pieces, I think could work. That's something that definitely could work for sure. But the way it's paced just doesn't help it at all. Um, it I'm trying to be a little bit higher. Let's see if that works. I doubt it. But it okay. So basic plot. Uh, 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 this is the first appearance of Spectre, and their plot is to steal this plane that has two atomic bombs, and they're going to hold the world for ransom, America and London for ransom. They're going to drop it on two cities, um, and Bond has to find them. And he finds the guy who has it, Emilio Largo, and he finds him in the Caribbean. They like to go to the Caribbean a lot. I've noticed it because this is Nassau. They go to Jamaica a lot, even in so like Doctor No, Live and Let Die, a couple others, and then they also go to like the like not Saint Simon's, but like one of the Virgin Islands too. They go to the Caribbean a lot. I think that could be one maybe British fascination because they were still probably in control of the islands, or just general island fascination after World War II and stuff. Um, because that was definitely the case for America at least, because this is MGM, so maybe MGM was saying like, but even in the books there was a lot of island fascination. So I don't know on that one. But it's very slow. Like it takes so much time showing how they pull the plan together, how they have a fake pilot, how they land the plane, how they bring the bombs out of the plane into the water, hide the plane in the water. Um, 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 and then so that takes forever. That's like 20, 30 minutes of that. So that takes a long time. And then even later on, you have the two underwater fights that take a long time too. Um, it's just a lot of puttering about. And I do know there's like rights issues with it at first because like it was going to be a screenplay originally, but then he made it into a book and then became adapted again. And whoever held the rights for the original version was a little odd. Trying to figure it out. That's why there's the Never Say Never Again, which is a remake of Thunderball because they were able to do that under a different company. It's a whole thing. Um, but even reading the book, I could go ahead and say that it feels way more detailed than the other ones. Probably because of that, like more like sloggy paced. Um, when I say that it's low key, it's incredibly low key. Also, like he already knows that it's Largo. Pretty much, he finds that out almost immediately when he gets there. He's like, oh, it's this guy, and he gets out to his area. He's like, oh yeah, I know you're the guy. He's like, yeah, and like he doesn't really have a base. He has the yacht in his house, but like the house, he gets out of like the shark trap rather easily, and then the yacht mainly equates to just setting up the underwater battle. Um, and the final set piece is like the yacht, like the speedboat part of the yacht, because the yacht separates the speedboat part, like going haywire, and it looks awful. I don't know if it even looked good for the time. I may be wrong, but I don't know. Um, it just doesn't look good, and it just kind of ends anticlimactically too. It's very odd. Um, there's a weird bit where it's like it, okay, so there's a part of the movie like near-ish the end, maybe an hour or so into it, where they're having their own island version of like Mardi Gras, as they describe as like a big celebration kind of thing. So there's a bunch of parade going on. During that, Bond gets notice that his assistant, like his not assistant, but like his co his helper, she gets kidnapped. So he leaves to find her at the hotel. Can't find her. He goes to the yacht, finds her at the yacht. She's dead, and he kind of fights a bunch of people, leaves, and then comes back, and the parade's still going on, and it doesn't look like it's moved at all. So it's very odd, like it feels like a bunch of time has passed, but it really hasn't, um, which also slows down the pacing. Um, there's a bit where, so this is me. This is probably completely on me that I have Bond girl face blindness, I guess is the term, because there is two Bond girls sort of in this. There's the villain Bond girl and the good Bond girl. I thought they were the same person for a little bit. So I was actually kind of like, oh, we're getting the first evil one, like straight up evil one, way earlier than I thought. Okay, interesting. Sure. No, different person. Like the evil one dies, and then the main one pops up again and say, oh, okay. I that's on me. Um, Not paying attention. And I didn't even pay attention to the fact that the evil Bond girl appears in the very beginning to seduce the pilot that they needed to replace. I didn't even clue that it was the same person. So Bond girl face blindness. Um, yeah, for this one to be like the start of the Blofeld series, especially the trilogy for Connery, it's a low start. And with Diamonds being the way it was, that's a low finish too. So I'm hoping You Only Live Twice is better, because if that one's low too, then it's like, oh. So you have this really impressive villain that doesn't do much, but I don't think that's the case. I'm pretty sure that You Only Live Twice is good. Mostly because I want to see Donald Pleasance as Blofeld, so I'm hoping that one's good. I do know that he appears in Your Majesty's Secret Service, and I think he appears maybe twice. I think I know one for sure. In Moore's Run, but I don't, because I haven't watched all of Moore's. I don't know if he appears once for real and then gets thrown into the smokestack, or if he just gets thrown into the smokestack immediately. I don't remember on that one. Um, but yeah, eh, yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of just weird pacing stuff, like, um, so like we know everything that's going on, but then Bond and MI6 and stuff get told the same thing that we just saw, and they have to figure out where they are. And we already know where everything is and how they did it and stuff. So it's them catching up with us, and it's also kind of boring too, because like some of the appeal of the other Bond movies is that we pick up almost right like with Bond and we're trying to figure it out at the same time. Like occasionally we'll get some bits, like from Russia with Love we were following both, so that was interesting. Um, at least so the books handle it differently. With the books you kind of know in advance some of this stuff, um, or you get clued in a little bit earlier. But like the movies try and do a weird balance. Like Diamonds, you didn't know. Diamonds was all confusing anyway, but you didn't know. Goldfinger, you found out with Bond. You really didn't know like the extent. You knew some of it, but you didn't really know the extent. And that was the same case in the book. Like you knew the same thing, or I think the most egregious example of telling people straight up what it was Doctor No. Because in the book, you didn't find out the main thing until way later in the book. But in the movie, they just say, oh yeah, he's messing with uh, satellites and rockets and stuff. Um, Yeah, I definitely wouldn't recommend this to people as their first for sure. I would only say like once they're deep into deep or relatively deep. Relatively deep into Bond, and then I would say here, watch it. Um, it's one that definitely feels longer than it is. Like it's, I, sorry, sorry about that. It's 125 minutes, but it feels longer. It feels longer, and yet it moves still. It's odd. It's very odd. Um, there's a bit. So okay, I do need to talk before I talk about this big complaint I have. Please remember like, comment, subscribe. I notice some of you are watching and liking without subscribing. I appreciate the watches and the likes, but please subscribe. Um, it does help me a lot. And even hitting that notification bell and commenting, all that stuff helps. Anyway, one of the things I want to mention is in the book, same as in the movie, Bond goes to this retreat to like health spa retreat. In the book, it's because he's forced to, because he's like smoking 60 cigarettes a day, drinking a bunch of vodka and alcohol and stuff. And M's like, no, you need a cleanse, man. You're gonna go and you're gonna start eating healthier. Like it's really funny. The books say like, oh yeah, yogurt's good for you, processed food's bad for you, all these things like things that we still hear now was being pushed on him then. That was kind of funny. But in the book, he's trying to seduce the main attendant, the main girl there. He does kiss her without he does kiss her without her permission. So there is still assault, but she spurns his advancements and he leaves it there. In the movie, however, they have to extend it further where he blackmails her into sleeping with him, and um, uh, they continue. It's like I don't like that. Like the Bond movie, and then he sleeps with the girl, like the main Bond girl, after he tells her that her brother's dead too. It's just not the best look. I feel like this one and Goldfinger are like the worst examples of Bond's forcefulness. Um, and definitely like it's like yeah, this is where the stereotype of the character really came into play. It's rough. Um, I honestly think like I'm gonna get into this a different video after I watch the rest, but how Bond treats women in the early movies, especially, really shows how the generations that were raised on them, either within the theater or just seeing them via VHS or whatever, really explains how they view how they treat women, especially if they loved the movies and they vibed with Connery the most. It does explain a lot to me, but I'm going to get into that different video once I finish the books and the movies. Um, I will be finishing the book and then I'll do the full on comparison. Because as the moment, there's subtle differences. There's a little bit of differences, but there's not a whole lot more. Um, Besides more time in the spa and how we treat it, a couple other things. Like it's not completely different, but a little bit. Um, I do want to, not want, but I will watch um, Never Say Never Again, just to see the differences, and I'll compare Thunderball and Never Say Never Again too, because they're about the same from what I gather, but I don't know all the differences. Um, anyway, that's all I got. Until next time.